I want you to think about something. Whenever we break up with a person, there's this void inside our hearts, this emptiness, this pain that is literally on an emotional and spiritual level, you could say. It feels like there's a hole in your heart, even though physically speaking, there's none, but you can feel it. It's a pain in your chest. Why? Well, because you lost someone that you loved. This can either happen through death or it can happen through a breakup. It's very interesting, but from personal experience I've found out that they are very similar in the way we actually experience the pain. Because in both cases the person that we cared about is gone. Perhaps during a breakup, if you were married and divorced and you have children together, in some way you're still in touch with each other, though it might be a little awkward. I've seen this happen with my own parents when they were divorced when I was a child. It was clear over the years it was always a little awkward for them to be involved with each other. They didn't, of course, mind being with us, with me and my brother and sister as children, but when it comes to them both, well, it's kind of weird. So that is a scenario that you can face. But you see, also many people face a totally different version where it's like you were in a relationship for a couple of years and then you broke up and you feel very bad now because you obviously spent a certain amount of time together that were precious to you and you have some hopefully wonderful memories, and now it all has come to an end. What are you going to do with the pain? This is very important to consider. Now, in the case of someone passing away, you'll notice it's very similar again because you feel like you lost someone, but in this case you'll never be able to physically talk to them, to reach out to them any longer. Now that is the most extreme version we all have to face sooner or later. Usually I like to tell people I hope for you that it happens late in life and not when you're still a child or young in general, but it still happens even then. We can't really stop that process after all. But this video specifically is about people living with a broken heart because a relationship fell apart. Well, what I wanted to tell you through this video is what I've done over the years myself, and that really helped me out a lot. Which is that every time I would find myself in a situation where I broke up with a girlfriend, I actually would start writing about it for myself. I would write about certain memories that I liked. I would analyze my own behavior and see how I could have done better, perhaps with a future relationship. And because of all of that, I was able to place that pain in a more positive spot, mentally and emotionally. You see, the thing that happens to people is that they feel like they'll never find another person ever again. They feel like, I lost someone so precious, so important, nobody could replace them. In a way it makes sense because we're all unique, so it's not the case that you would replace them and find someone exactly like them. Yet that is what many people try to do. Have you seen many videos out there that are existing concerning getting your ex back? An ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, partner. It's very strange to me, but it seems to be an indication that most people have trouble moving on. Yet that is very important and also very, well, healthy for your own state of mind. Because if you stay stuck in the pain that you're currently feeling, if you're going through such a situation, you're trying desperately to find a way out of the pain. I've been there. I would look up all sorts of stuff on how could I get over my ex-girlfriend faster. It's kind of funny in a way. But you see, we do these things because we obviously don't want to feel the pain. So what are we going to do with the pain? Well, the only suggestion I have for you is to try and realize that even though the relationship has ended, perhaps you ended it or perhaps the other person ended it, you might feel betrayed. You might feel all alone right now. But yet the important part to remember is that this pain is temporary. It's so obvious, right? And it might not really help you out right away. But the thing is, the faster you accept this, the faster you can also move on and heal your own broken heart. You gotta make peace with the pain that you're feeling. Now this usually happens over a certain period of time. But there's people out there who actually stay stuck in this pain of loss. I think my mother was one of them, to be really honest with you. When they divorced, I think she never really got over that. And she carried that sort of pain and loneliness in her soul for the rest of her life until she finally took her own life. You see, that can happen. People with a broken heart can actually be sort of compelled to take their own life because they just can't stand this pain, this hole inside of their hearts. But yet, these people could have found a way out of this pain had they kept an open mind and had they tried to make peace with it in the right way. So no matter what you're going through right now, whether it's a situation of losing someone through death, or just a breakup or actual divorce, I want you to understand that as an individual, whether you're a man or a woman, young or old, you're still precious. You're still important to this world. You'll still be able to find someone that is right for you. Now, it's hard to grasp this at first because we're so obsessed with the loss itself. And this is what we need to train. This is what we need to keep in mind. Is that it's better to look back and remember the precious times you shared and thank the universe for them, and to move on with a grateful heart and mind, than to feel sorry for yourself and sad that it's all over. It seems like a paradox, sort of contradicting in a way. Because we're like, but I do miss this person. I do wish they would still be in my life. I do kind of want them back, right? That's what you feel. And then we're saying, well, you gotta just think of the good times you shared and make peace with it, and don't really care about the pain. It sounds weird, doesn't it? I mean, let's be honest here. I shouldn't care about the pain. No, what I mean is, you want to redirect the pain into something productive. And this is the real trick. So have you done that? Have you tried writing out the relationship for yourself? Like a story. You just write out the good times you shared, the bad times you shared, and then I want you to also write out what you feel like could have been better. Because you see, what's happening with this act is that you start to develop awareness of a proper relationship that you could still create and manifest and attract into your life. You see, most people don't take the time to really figure out what went wrong in past relationships, so they keep running into the same sort of issues in future relationships. This is a very healthy and helpful way of coping with a loss. It helps you to figure out what sort of person you really want to be with, even though the person that you currently feel like has left you, that you feel sad about, was worthy and worthwhile and precious in their own ways. And this is so tricky at first, in that stage of pain and a broken heart, that we might not be able to truly do it, but yet you can do this instantly, literally instantly. You see, it feels like you can't do it because of your current focus on what you've lost. The only thing you can think about is what you've lost. That's that hole inside your heart. In order to heal that hole that you feel inside your heart, you're going to have to mend your own broken heart by practicing the act of forgiveness, of acceptance, of self-love. You see, if you do this one thing, you can do something absolutely wonderful. Because the next step, again, would be if you've written out your relationship and you analyzed it and you thought about it and you were just happy about it, you learned to be happy about what you had with that person, then you can start to zoom in for yourself on, okay, with a future relationship, what would be my most attractive qualities? Or I should actually put it differently, what would be the most attractive qualities in a person I would like to date? And then what happens, you see, is that such a person will show up in your life over time. You will notice that there will always come new people, old people are gonna leave, new people show up. But with this awareness of what sort of person you're actually looking for, you can learn to grow in a direction where you start to face less and less of the broken hearts concerning when a relationship falls apart, where you or the other person break up with you or them. This is very important, you see, because you do matter as an individual. It's not that you're worthless. You might feel like you've done things terribly wrong, that's why they left. They might have had their own reasons for leaving you. It still doesn't mean that you're a worthless individual or that you should beat yourself up for, perhaps, mistakes that you've made, that you feel like you've made in the relationship. This is something we tend to do as well. Have you noticed that? That hole inside your heart right now. It's asking for you to fill it with your own love. It's like you're sensing this lack of love currently inside your soul. And what you're going to realize is that you actually made your feelings of worthiness and love dependent upon another person being in your life. But it shouldn't be that way ever. But yet that's what we do. That's what you're actually experiencing with a broken heart. It's that you made this individual that is now gone so important that without them you can't feel love and positive emotions temporarily. Now, this normally heals over time naturally anyway, but by having a clear awareness of this process, you can first of all heal it much faster, and second of all, you will become a much wiser person. This is also why people would always tell that you need to first be able to love yourself before you can love someone else. It sounds cliche, and I've heard it a lot of times in my life, but nobody actually explained it the way I'm trying to explain it to you right now. That the fact that you feel broken heart, that you feel lonely, is because first of all, you're making yourself dependent on certain people having to be in your life, because without them, you're lost, you're feeling lonely, like your life is empty, that it's not complete. But yet if you could learn to feel love and completeness with who you are yourself in the silence of your own room, even though you're alone, well then you're going to discover that once your broken heart is healed, you'll never be dependent on another person for it any longer. Then new dating, future relationships are going to become a lot of fun for you. So I just wanted to put this out there for people that are currently struggling with a breakup, because we all go through this at times, it's part of life. I mean, I remember a few years ago I went through it and it was pretty terrible, to say the least. But the way how I built my way out of that sadness and pain before it could consume me entirely was to just redirect my mind on where I actually wanted to go with my own individual life, on what I was passionate about. This is something you could try for yourself. So give it a shot. It's all for free. You don't have to pay anyone to do this. The only price you have to pay is to use your own mind. And that's actually a beautiful thing. Once you do that, you become a much more powerful individual while you're at it. So peace be with you. I hope your heart will heal, and that you won't feel this loneliness and sadness and void for very long. Because at the end of the day, as an individual, you're still worth loving. You're still worth to be loved. And you're not a worthless individual at all. Perhaps the partner made you feel like that before they left. You never know, it happens. At the end of the day, you're still capable of building a great life for yourself with a great partner by your side. If you keep your mind open to that possibility, then it can be floating right into your life. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.